Alright, so welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to break down two trades I took today, or I could just show you the walkthrough of the trades I took. So this is a screen recording of the trade. Yeah. So as you can see here, we already had the daily SMT at those highs. NASDAQ took out previous highs, but we didn't take it out on the S&P 500 at that time. So, well, let's just keep pushing it forward, and we can see here we have this 1 minute bearish value gap here. But on the S&P 500, we've already taken out this lows. But if we let me go to my trading view. You can see here, we've already taken out this lows. My drawn liquidity were this 1 hour order block and this 1 hour order block, this sell side, and then this daily order block, because I wanted to see price keep pushing to the downside, since on the daily time frame we are having an SMT to the downside, right? So let's get back to the video right here. So as you can see, we also tapped into that 1 minute bearish value gap. Keep moving forward. So at that point, I wanted to see this fair value gap get inversed, and as you can see here, it has already been inversed, right? But why didn't I take this trade? The reason I didn't take this trade was because we hadn't yet inversed this fair value gap here, S&P 500. If we close below the consequent encroachment, I would have maybe thought of looking for some trades to the downside. But I also looked at this price here as most likely most likely I've created a CISD here. So I'm like, maybe price just wants to tap into this order block here and push higher. So that's why I wasn't in a rush to take this sell trade, even though we reacted off of that 1 minute bearish value gap, right? As you can see, they drew out the CISD, drawing out that value gap there, ended up pushing higher. Why I wasn't looking for any trades here was because of S&P 500 right here. Because if we take out this high here is the same high here. So if we take out this high, we might create a bearish S&T to the downside. That was why I wasn't looking for any trade here, even though I was looking at the CISD here as an order block. Price tap into it, inverses this gap. So I was still not looking for any, buy trade right here, because we might take out this high, form a bearish S&T, because we are still nowhere close to this high. So we might form a bearish S&T and then push to the downside. And besides that, we are also still in the fair value gap range here. We have still not inversed here, so I'm still not looking for any trades to the upside, right? And yeah, we ended up taking out that high. You can see here, we ended up taking out the high. We didn't take out those highs here, which kind of created a bearish S&T. So now I'm looking at this here as a bearish S&T, looking at this fair value gap here, still looking at the S&P 500. Patiently waiting. Yeah, so you can see there we ended up still pushing to the upside. So price, though this was the beginning of price choppiness, like I don't know why price was really choppy today, but this was the beginning of when price started being choppy, right? Because I was really wondering what kind of fair value gap this is, because this created a balanced price range here when we have two fair value gaps overlapping with each other. So I really didn't want this fair value gap to keep pushing price higher, because bro, ended up breaking here at price, finding out that we ended up taking out all-time highs. So now I'm patiently just waiting for this fair value gap to be inversed, because we have a huge SMT. We've already taken out all-time highs on the S&P, but we haven't done that on the NASDAQ. So I'm still looking at price to keep pushing to the downside, right? So I'm still looking at this fair value gaps here that have been overlapped, trying to see price go below the consequent encroachment, because if you notice here, the consequent encroachment of this gap is literally just another fair value gap here. Yes, you can see there is a little gap here. So if price goes below the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap of this gap here, that's basically us inversing this little fair value gap here. So that's what I was waiting for exactly to happen. And you can see here we are so close to inversing this gap on the S&P 500. So yeah, we started to do that on the S&P and see what happened. I ended up taking the sell position right here. My stops was initially supposed to be this high. My stops was supposed to be at this high. instead of this highs. So I ended up still reducing it though. My stops ended up adjusting my stops back to this high. Yeah. So as you can see there, I ended up getting stopped out on that trade. We really wasn't expecting that to happen because of at least the S&P 500 is treating this inverse now as resistance. You can see we're not going above the consequent encroachment of this gap. We were firstly respecting it, but as soon as we broke past it, we started treating it as resistance. So I was kind of surprised when price ended up still going higher. But I still kept my hopes high because I felt like we were going to create an SMT. Because here, as you can see, we're still not close to this high, but NASDAQ has almost taken out this high. So I could just fast forward and you see that we ended up still getting stopped out right there. So we ended up getting stopped out. I was still okay with it. I wasn't risking that much. Yeah, so took out this high on the NASDAQ. We didn't take out this high on the S&P. So I could still potentially look for a sell trade to the downside, right? So as we push forward, you can see S&P is still dropping. I knew this was going to happen because of that inverse. Treated this inverse as a really good resistance area. So looking at the NASDAQ now, as soon as price started breaking below here, closed as the body, a little bit below the gap, ended up taking my sell trade right here. You can see there, took my sell trade there. Now I was really wishing this inverse could act as resistance to push price lower, which price actually did, because as you can see here, we had the SMT. The price was pushing lower, really pushing lower. Now, at this point, I had to put my stops to break even. You might ask me why, and that was because we already took out this low on the S&P, which was here. We ended up taking out this low on the S&P. But we didn't do that on the NASDAQ. So I had to put my stops to break even and call it a day because, when we have these types of SMTs, bro, I just have to put my stops to break even regardless of what price does. So I ended up getting stopped out right there. As you can see, at break even. Well, you didn't hear the voice at that point because my broker already logged me out. So yeah, so that was it for the day. That was basically all the trades I took for the day. Just two, one loss and one break even. Well, it's a close trading view. So yeah, it was one loss and one break even. But yeah, that was basically it for today. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.